Hello? Hello? Hello, hello. Hi guys. Sorry to hear you both had rough days so far. That sucks. Okay. Again, sorry, no cam this week. I'm basically gonna be pretty quick with this stream. I think we'll kind of do a building or whatever, maybe an hour or so, give or take, because I gotta get back to holiday commissions. And as much as I'd like to just, you know, draw whatever, I really gotta do these. Patreon set me behind a little bit. So, let's see, let's just go to this junk. Okay. How far did I get with my commissions by now? Well, I lost about a week. Was it a week? Or was it more than a week? It was just a week, right?
Yeah.
A week to Patreon. Hi, Alex! Welcome! Sorry, I don't have a camera on today. My face cam at least, because it takes a lot of time for me to kind of get in my get up, and times like this, it's just, I'm so swamped right now with the holiday commission stuff that it's just crazy. So I'm behind about a month for 20-ish commissions, but I've got to get the holiday ones, like the Christmas ones, out of the way, because people usually, you know, I have them pay more to do the fast fees. So there's about 6 of those, and 2 of them are 7x10s, 4 are 9x12s, and one of the 9x12s is 4 pets, so that one's going to be a monster. So I have to, I'm kind of building up to that one, just because since I did Patreon stuff for the past week, I'm kind of out of my element for the moment, so I'd like to ease back in. I'm doing a 7x10 here. Okay, I can't really move my camera much right now, but here, I'll try to show you. This one ended up being a queenly type, but more of a governess. So she has a lot of... Oh, there goes my camera. It's a new camera too, by the way. Speaking of cameras, I still don't have a nice setup yet for it, but Gabe and I are selling our other three cameras we've got, and they were really good for, you know, streaming. They did their job for sure, but you know, we just wanted some that were more true to the colors and such we were using. So there's that. All right, 4 pets is tough. It usually is, because I've got them doing. First of all, each pet has to be their own. Like their own class, obviously, but then they also have to be interacting with each other if they normally interact with each other. So if they have like a relationship, they protect each other, hate each other, love each other, whatever, I try to work that in. So it takes a little bit of thumbnailing to get the right composition where they can be simultaneously like individuals but also interacting. So that's a whole thing. How you been, Alex? I love the script folder. Aw, thanks, Alice. It's called a Logitech Brio. The hardest thing I haven't figured out yet. I forgot about it till about a half an hour ago, and I had to jerry-rig something here to get it to stay up okay. But it's really meant to be a face cam. It doesn't have any like tripod hookups or anything like that, but in terms of is it good for art, it has really good white balance settings. It's really good for manual focus, because you really want a camera that has manual focus. You don't want autofocus, because that'll really screw with your stuff. And it's got like you can move around and crop and stuff really easily in this companion app it's got. So out of all the cameras we've tried, and I think we've tried 3 or 4 different brands and kinds, this one so far has been the best, so we're going to hang on to this one. But yeah, it works surprisingly well for just being mainly a face cam. But our old ones are still good. I'm not going to say they're bad. They're just, they're not what we'd like right now because we started doing a lot more color stuff. So, and the other ones are fine with color. They're just not as crisp or clean as I'd like them to be. But we'll be selling those for probably 50 to 60 bucks, somewhere in there. So if any of you end up wanting to claim one, just let us know. Like I said, they're in great condition. They're just a USB hookup. That's it. And yeah, they're really good still. Do the people who request the pet portraits, they request a certain costume persona? No. So I've got this whole spiel I do at cons where I translate pets' personalities into D&D and RPG classes that suit them. So the owner ends up emailing me. I have this little flyer, and I don't have it anywhere on me, but I can show you a picture of it here. Let me bring it up. But I give them a flyer at the convention. It's also on my Etsy. Actually, maybe I'll just do that. Here. So if you go to, here, Alex, if you go to my Etsy listing for it, and you look through the pictures are really old. I really have to update them. But there's a flyer in there that says, you know, when you write me the email, I want like personality descriptions. I want funny stories you've got. I want likes, dislikes, hobbies, everything, right? I also ask a very key question that's, are they passive, passive-aggressive, or aggressive? And that'll tell me which road to go down in terms of, are they, you know, a fighter? Are they a mage? Are they evil? Are they good? Like, it tells me a lot just with that simple question. And it's taken me about 3 years? How long have I done? Yeah, 3 years to kind of hone this little survey, I guess, for owners to fill out. And then I hit them back with what I call a paw reading. And it's basically an RPG/D&D class assessment. I'll be like, well, they sound like a paladin because they, you know, realize when you're sad, they try to comfort you, but they also defend you and try to, you know, protect their territory and all this stuff, but they're still, you know, good overall, right? Something like that. But sometimes I get one that's maybe like a necromancer, and it's like usually a cat, you know, and they have certain traits, or like fire mages, very certain things now, especially like I do live readings at cons now, and you know, I'll ask them live questions, and then I'll be like, well, your pet sounds like this for this, this, and this reason. They're like, oh my god, this is so cool. And I try to work in like their favorite toys or little inside stories. For this one that I was doing, here, I'm probably gonna screw up my camera again, but let me do this. Okay, so for this, usually it's a medieval drawing. I haven't finished the other part of the rocking chair, but she always slept in rocking chairs. They described her as, it basically came out to be what I would say is a battle queen, but because they called her the governess, I was like, well, let's go that route, because that's the same thing basically, but in a different era. So I've got her in pioneer wear. And then she always had like puzzle pieces in her fur all the time because they'd do puzzles and stuff and she'd end up with them. And then she was very punctual. She always knew when she really, you know, needed to be fed, wanted to get up. She would always be kind of the one that was in charge of when they're doing what. So I've got that there. And she's going to have also I don't know if that's going to be like a bag or a bucket yet of empty corn cobs, because apparently she loved corn cobs that had been eaten, like all the corn's gone, but she would lick them a lot. So I'll have that somewhere in here too. And then she also liked wind chimes. So I might try to fit that in too, but I kind of dissect the story that the owner has given me and try to take out really key things that made that pet very special to them, or that was very that pet, you know. And it's become a really fun thing since I have that kids book background to me, and the mobile game background. I'm really able to personify characters pretty easily, and I think people get a kick out of it. And honestly, it pays the bills, so it's fun for me either way. It is. It really is. It's so personal, as opposed to I get people that come up to me and it's like, oh, I just give you a picture of my cat and you draw him in an outfit. And I'm like, no, I'm not one of those. They're like, 3 other artists here who are just slapping animals in clothes, right? But I'm like, mine's a little bit more in depth. It's more of a experience as well as a memory, So I say we go back and forth and email a little bit, and we'll talk about the composition and stuff. It doesn't take as long as it sounds. It's basically like 3 emails total between the two. So I don't know. I make it into a pretty fun thing, and they end up looking pretty polished, I'd like to think. I forgot what the hashtag was for them. I usually can just kind of... Well, if you go on... It's right there. So if you click here on my profile on Instagram, I've done over 400 at this point, but there are only a couple hundred on Instagram. But you can kind of see certain ones I've been told more. Like if you see one that's a lot more actiony or in depth or has more to it, that's because the owner has told me a lot more. Because sometimes, I really have to dig with some people. They don't tell me too much. They're pretty basic. Like, oh, I just had a cat. But like some, you get all these little, Easter eggs, I'll say, where it's like if anybody else but the owner looked at these, they'd be like, what is going on here? But every little thing in here means something to the owner. And, that means a lot to me too. Because I don't like any of them to look the same. So this one was really fun. I got to do quails. He ended up being a bard, and she was a chef. But this one let me down a little bit. I didn't get to go as crazy as I wanted to, just because I was like, can I use their feathers as fingers? Because sometimes with the birds I'll ask that, just because I know some people aren't into that far of an anthropomorphic thing, it creeps them out, and she's like, no, I'd rather they just be sitting in costume. So he's just like sitting here. But like if I get to actually use their feathers as fingers, it looks more like this. So it doesn't look too weird, I try not to make it look strange. But there's that one, and then another one with birds was, God, where was it? Oh, I still love this wizard corgi. He was a sleeper, but he was really smart. He liked bones. But there was one. Oh yeah, this one. So he was basically a rogue and a thief. So I'm using his feathers as that, and this one is that. But, I feel like it works out. It doesn't look weird. Let's see, I got a bearded dragon here. This one was really fun. I got to draw some grubs, some raspberries, some crickets, some lettuce. Really had fun on that one. And sometimes this one was an Asian-inspired one. This one is old at this point. Yeah, that's a year ago. This is technically the first official one I did. So this was 2016. So yeah, that one was a while ago. That was before I got down my formula. This one's an unofficial one. I did this in 2013. It's like I was doing it before I knew I was doing it. Oh, this one was fun. A bunch of hamsters. So... I'll probably have some sort of a deal on Black Friday, or rather Cyber Monday, to get these. So if anybody's been waiting for me to have a sale on that, I will probably be having one. Cyber Monday-ish. Okay. Oh, thanks, Alex. How was your work today? Was it fun? How's the video for everybody? It's not lagging, is it? Because it's new? I was kind of worried about that doing that. Work was slow. Oh. I suppose Friday at the library, most people... I don't know, is Friday a hopping day? What day is the most busy day at a library? Oh, work, not the video. Yeah, I suppose I asked those in a terrible... terrible order, huh? Alright, so... Oh, it depends on the season. Oh, school season, I suppose. It's crazy. Alright, so we're going to talk about fantasy buildings real quick. I touched on this, I think it was last week. So I'm going to kind of reiterate again because last week was kind of an unofficial, here's how you draw fantasy buildings, right? And then we had started on this one here. We had started on this one because Alice had given me a shape to go off of because I had asked Alice what shape. And we went off a hexagon and we got to this point. So I'm going to do another one. And I actually challenge you guys to also either do it with me or do it, off stream or whatever. But I think it'd be good to actually try it, and then if you want to put your whatever you end up doodling, put it in the Discord. And I'd love to see what you can do with that. So, I'm wondering if it's the camera, if it's actually too, I don't know, intensive. So sometimes I'll go on Pinterest. Pinterest is a better place to look at art, I feel, than Google Images. So go to Pinterest if you can. And then I usually type in like fantasy building concept. You gotta put in concept art usually. And then you'll get some good ideas here. So usually I'll go look at some ideas just to kind of, in my head, be like, oh, a circular building is cool. Oh, I love this. This is cute. That's really cool. Maybe I want to do a tiny building. So, you look at stuff, be like, oh, this one's in the water. That's cool. Maybe I want to do one in the water. So when it comes to inspiration, you don't necessarily want to lift too much, right? Inspiration is basically just you're kind of looking or feeling something and, you want to incorporate that feeling into what you're going to be drawing because it looks like fun. You want to kind of base your inspiration off of what looks fun. Because then you're going to want to finish the piece. If you do something that you don't really want to do at the time, let's say you force yourself to sit down and do anatomy, you're not going to probably really want to do anatomy, and you're not going to finish it if you're not in the mood to, unless you maybe see, one of your favorite artists put up a couple cool characters and you're like, man, I want to draw some characters. So then you're actually hyped up to do anatomy. But in this case, it's good just to go look around. This is a cool shape on this roof here. Just shapes even, And last week, I think, like I said, I had asked the chat to give me a shape, and then I went off of that. So I'll probably do that again this time. Oh, that one's cool too. That one's underground. So it's just fun to see what other people have done. Honestly, buildings are not as hard as everybody thinks they are. You can honestly do whatever you want with buildings. Like, there's one I saw up here. Like, these are kind of a mishmash whatever. There's wood here, there's stairs there. It's just hinting at certain things. It can really be pretty messy, honestly. This one's really nice and clean. I like that. Oh, really, Jazzy? How come? How did I fail you on the last one? Let me know that, and maybe I can make this one better, I guess. This is nice. I like really, really clean designs. Oof, those are good. So there's a tree one. So I had done a series a while back, and some of you remember it, and some I talked about it on the last stream. I wonder if I made a hashtag for it. Oh, I did. Okay. Good for me. So I had made a hashtag for this last series I did, where it was called Fortified Flora, and it was basically I was drawing buildings around flowers, basically, right? And it was simple and it wasn't too intensive. It was just a way for me to kind of doodle some stuff and some flowers, right? Because I really liked how organic the flowers and the plant life were, especially against, the rigid nature of the building. So I thought they, kind of lended to each other pretty well. Good contrast, and it was a really nice exercise for like textures and fabric and things. And scale. A couple of these are a little bit bigger in scale than the other ones. So that was fun. But, let's see. What do we want to do today? So the shape really, Jazzy, was about just having more of a base to go off of, because I find if you just start going, you won't really have a good direction, but at least a shape, even if you don't follow that shape exactly. And I'll show you kind of what I mean by that in a minute, but it's literally just a really loose starting point to get the motor going. This is really cute. So right now, I'm not even really taking in what I'm seeing, I'm just gauging how I'm reacting to what I'm seeing, if that makes sense. Like, if I get really excited about something I see, then I know that I should probably do something similar to that, or like, base it kind of off it, either like pick apart what I like about it. Maybe it is, if it's circular or if it's up in the sky, is it a boat? What is it? Oh, that one's cool. I like that. It's kind of got a around the base and the top. That's cool. As much as I like floating buildings and things like this, I can't bring myself to do it just because I'm like, well, I don't know how that'd work. I don't know. Part of me is like, I want it grounded. And even though this one seems ridiculous, I actually dig that too. Like, a touch of surrealism is neat. Oh, that's cool. I mean, you could really get into it too. Like, my grandpa was an architect, and I mean, he was legit, so he had like, rulers and perspective grids and everything. But for this, if you're just kind of playing around, and I think that's kind of the best way to get into buildings, to just play. Because the minute you start trying to break it down and keep it, actually accurate to perspective and things, you're gonna kind of lose your love for it. It's kind of like trying to figure out what makes love, instead of just feeling it. Hello, other Jazzy. Uh-oh. I'll say Jazz Master and Jazzy Creates. Oh, the shape of a pine cone. I could do that. Actually, pine cone is my next Mythical Monthly Guardian. It's going to be based on the evergreen tree. So I'm sure I'll end up putting the pine cone in December's Mythical Monthly Guardian. Because I was talking about that with Gabe, and I really like kind of what the pine cone stands for and evergreen trees in general. So, ooh! Oh, I know who did this. I follow this guy. Yeah, I follow him on Twitter. He has a really good mouse series. I actually really dig his style. His name is Ovopack. Oh, and isometric buildings. I have a soft spot in my heart for isometric buildings because of, I did a game with isometric stuff a while back, and I love it. It's so easy to do in terms of perspective. I don't know his exact link, but he's that on Twitter. Alright. Let's see. Okay. I kind of dig the tree idea. This is a legit tree house, but maybe on a stump? Or actually maybe on the side of a rock. See, all this is trying to get your mind going with doing something, right? Oh, I love cutaways too. Actually, I think I would like to do either a water scene or a snow scene. Which would you guys rather see, snow or water? Oh yeah, I love stone. Oh my god. Yeah, and isometric's really easy, Jazzy. Like, it's the easiest perspective to do. In all honesty. Snow, water, water. And then I also really like things that are, this is gonna sound dumb, but dangerous. Like if you put, I guess this is a good example back here. When I did this the other day, I like how dangerous this is. But this still looks cozy, you know? Like, for some reason, I like buildings that are suspended in a dangerous way. So, we tied. So let's see. I've been drawing a cat all day, so I'm a little bit out of my brain here with what I want to do. Okay, I've got kind of a surreal idea. Alright. So, Jazzy, with what I was saying about this one in the hexagon, when I had drawn this on the last stream, or started it rather, this one was going to be on water too. I don't know why I do the water ones. I like to. Okay, so, the hexagon was actually right here when I first drew it. And what I took away from that shape was really this, 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 and this. Which is really, I mean, actually it's a pentagram, isn't it? Well, I confused a hexagon with a pentagram, or a pentagon. So it only had 5 sides. But I took at least 4 of the sides from the pentagon I thought was a hexagram. Hexagon. God damn it. You get what I mean. Anyway, so it was really just a jumping point to draw whatever, because I wasn't doing what I was doing now and looking at a bunch of other buildings. And usually I don't. I don't usually sit down and do that unless I, like, have nothing in my head at the moment. So, since I have nothing in my head at the moment, that's why I did, you know, what you guys saw where I was looking around. So if you're really hurting and you know, need some inspiration, you can always go to Pinterest. Pinterest is great for that. Some people actually just put their portfolios on Pinterest. I'm like, really? Okay. I mean, I guess that works. Let's see. So, I was actually thinking of, is anybody familiar with a cairn? I think it's spelled that way. So, cairn, like this. It's the art of stacking stones on one another. So, since I had mentioned buildings being dangerous, not always a burial ground. They're just markers, really. But yeah, if you Google cairn, there's you know, stones that are just stacked really nicely on top of each other. And I mentioned the dangerous thing, so let's do a cairn house, I guess. How's that sound? So you don't always need to go off of a shape, like I was saying. If you're really hurting for an idea, you can. Honestly, there's no right or wrong way to do this. So let's do what you guys are saying. Since we got a tie, let's have it be water and snow. So it can be snowing, but not quite icy yet. So the water will still be moving. And we'll have some snow going on. So, let's see. I just want to make sure. Let's see. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to do some kind of rigid rocks. Usually I would do smooth rocks, but I want it to kind of look like it could work, but also just be super dangerous, right? So let's do that. Where's my edge of my paper on this new camera? Up here and up here? Okay. Oh, thanks, Jazzmaster. It's good to see you too. I like what you've been doing on your Instagram. Keep it up. Yes, Danger House. Okay, so I'm gonna do them a little bit rigid, but having rounded corners. So I'll just loosely put in a few here. See how it goes. Because the cool thing about cairns is when you stack them, it looks like it basically won't work, right? But because of the equilibrium, I guess, inside of the stone, you know, it does. So this should make it a little bit uneasy. So in your head, you gotta kind of think, well, if this one's going this far over here, it probably needs another one to offset it here. And then in terms of our house, let's see, what should our house look like? Let's do an oval-esque house, so it at least feels similar to the stones we're using. How about that? Oh, this is a grunty song. And I'm pretty into kind of chunky buildings, so it's gonna look a little bit cartoony, but I'll try not to make it too bad. And then sometimes I like to have like a little vehicle or something at the bottom, showing like, okay, they come and go, you know, with whatever they're doing via this thing. So actually maybe I can, that's the water. Maybe the wind's blowing from the left to the right. Are any of you guys gonna try your buildings? It'd be cool if this had like a little docking area. Maybe I can actually, yeah, maybe we can build off the cairn to have actually like a little boat that gets housed in here. Good, Jazzy, good. Is anybody gonna be doing my contest for my art supplies that I have? It's basically a draw this in your style challenge, but you get to win stuff. I notice a lot of people do the draw this in your styles, but it's never usually like, you know, for anything. It's usually just because they want to. Oh, do you? Oh, Alice, yay! I'm excited! I want to see. Let's see. I also really like houses made of hay. So, I'm noticing I have a couple things that I just keep kind of drawing. Which, it's okay if I'm relaxing and it's a comfort zone thing and you just want to draw that day, so you just, you know, it's your happy place. It's part of that happy hardcore list I talked about, where you've got a list of things that you draw because you're comfortable with them and they're fun to draw, but then don't forget to also, you know, once in a while try stuff that you're not used to drawing, because that'll be good for you in the long run. But in terms of right now, I'm just gonna kind of go with some older stuff. So I also really like lanterns and lamps. I figure this would probably need a couple. So let's make sure we get those in there. Yeah, I know you're not, Serenity. I totally get why. It's alright. I'll put a big one up here too. Why not? Then let's put maybe a little box over here. Maybe this part will be made out of wood, so it can kind of balance here. And then that way it makes sense why we'd have a little like rope bridge that comes all the way down here. So another thing to keep in mind is scale. So I already screwed up here because this was going to be the door. But if this is the rope bridge and this is the boat, our people are pretty small, so this door would be ginormous. So instead, maybe let's make our door a little bit more appropriate for the size of the people, or creatures, whatever. And then we can always put up, like, here's a big window. So I mean, why have this view and not have a giant window, right? That is going to be a pretty tough feeling to deal with, though, Serenity. I mean, in terms of just being an artist, having to deal with that, oof. I mean, that is your job, is to rival other people. But it's not at the same time. It sucks. It's like, you're always told, hey, you know, don't try to compete with everybody or compare yourself to others. But it's like, you can't help it. You're an artist. That's how you actually learn to grow, is to compare yourself. The problem is doing it, you know, in a personal way. So don't think that you're terrible or something just because, you know, your stuff looks different than someone else's. I think that's the takeaway with that. And then sometimes I like to think about, you know, what the purpose of the building is. This one, not so much. I don't think it has a purpose. It's just these people live here and they really like lights. But if I were gonna go kind of more, I guess, in depth at this, I would make a character to live here and what, you know, what's their occupation, add things around the house that have to do with that. Hey, Hesley. Yeah, easier said than done, Alex. It's the best thing to tell people, but I mean, to actually walk the walk, even I have trouble with that sometimes, and the people I used to live with, and the people I know. It's a great thing to shoot for, you know, try to be better than you were yesterday, but it's, when you're taking it day by day, yeah, that works actually awesome. It's really good. But when you're in the fray of it and you're drawing all the time every day, it's a little bit harder to keep track of it, especially when it's client work. You know, I don't know, it gets a little... It gets muddy, I'll say. But, you know, especially when all your peers are artists too, it's really hard not to compare yourself. You know, and we all kind of do, but in some respects we get jealous, in others we do get inspired. I think it depends on who the artist is and if they're trampling on what you'd say is your turf, you know? Like, whenever I meet another person that does, like, you know, mouse work or fantasy animals and stuff, I feel like, you know, you want to be their buddy because they're obviously into the same things you are, but you both probably have that feeling like, you know, are you my competition now? You know, that sort of thing. But you can do that in a healthy way, you know, without pushing them away, you know. Let's see. Exactly. And it really depends on who you are, too. To help Serenity's side of things, I totally get where she's coming from, because I feel like, once again, this goes back to her and my upbringing of being only children and feeling like something's yours and you know, you don't want someone stepping on it or, you know, stealing it, that sort of crap. I'm gonna actually put some stones on this. Alright. So, this is going to be made of the same stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, Serenity. I think it's good to find out what type of artist you are and how you like to work best and what you like to engage with and what you don't. It's all very important to just know yourself as an artist and a person. I mean, you're going to change a lot, but if you can figure out certain core elements of who you are that are kind of unwavering, like me, I don't like to party, I don't drink, I'm basically what a lot of people would say is pretty lame. I'm not fun, I've been called, but really my idea of fun isn't the same as a lot of people. And it used to be a sore spot for me, where I would feel like, oh, I'm weird because I don't like to party and do the things. But really, once I've gotten older and into my 30s, it's just like, that's who I am. I'm not gonna, I just went blank. I'm not gonna sacrifice, who I am or my happiness or my comfort to go out, and do something I really just don't want to do. I don't want to come back at like 2 a.m. and have a hangover in the morning and stuff like that. Like that's not important to me. And small talk, I'm not into small talk really. Like I want every conversation that I have with somebody, I want to basically have some kind of impact, Yeah, and that's completely fine. And everybody's in their a different part of their journey too, Asling. Like I totally get that, absolutely. But like, if I have to give an example, I would say like, I almost see David Peterson, who does Mouse Guard, as like just a fun rival. I mean, he wouldn't know. I've met him a few times, but we're definitely like, he doesn't probably remember me at all. But I see his stuff, I'm like, I like certain things about my mice more than things about his mice. However, his architecture and his actual architectural background are insanely good. Like, he trumps ass at that. Like, he is so good. He builds his own models and things, and his ink work is really great. So it's one of those things where it's like certain parts of different artists you want to strive for, I would say. Like, find out, certain things certain artists do that you really like and try to kind of emulate those. But I don't necessarily think you need like an art hero or anybody, like someone that you need to feel like you have to 100% copy their like career journey or something. A few people I know have one artist they're just trying to be, right? And I've never had that. I've had a few influences that I really enjoy their work, and I kind of wish that I could eventually get to their status, but if I don't, that's okay, and as long as I'm doing what I want, that's cool. But I'm not an extreme introvert though. That's the thing. I call myself an ambivert. I heard this a long time ago, where you are mainly an introvert, but you have to turn on extroversion to get to certain places and things. So I am extremely extroverted when I'm at conventions and I have to sell my stuff and I have to actually like talk to people, and it's really fun for me when I'm in that mood. But I can absolutely, turn it on and off. And when I turn it on, I don't see it as being disingenuous. I still see it as being, genuine, but it's a part of me that I have to tap into. And then when that time is done, like when the convention day is over, I have to hermit because I am tired, because that was a lot of work for me. So I wouldn't say I'm like an extreme introvert, but I do really have particular things that I'm into and not into, and I'm not trying to be someone I'm not anymore because I've figured out what I do and don't like. You know, I always kind of shied away from parties during college and stuff, but I ended up going to a few, and every time I'd come back, I'd be like, well, that feels like a waste of time, you know, so it's not really what I'd be into. That makes sense, Serenity, about the contest thing. I get that. I do too, Jazzy. I love being by myself. And I feel very lucky that I can be with Gabe and still feel like I'm by myself and still be able to kind of, you know, go into my own head and not feel guilty about that. I think being the type of people we are, it's really important that we can actually connect with somebody on that level where it's okay that you don't talk. It's okay that you just work and, you know, all that stuff. I think it's fine. So Asling, yeah, so it's not copying the artist exactly, it's more copying their journey. I think they were trying to shoot for. Because I have a friend who basically idolized this one artist and has kind of molded his career off it. And it's interesting because it's, you know, he'd be fine doing his own thing his way, and he still has, but he's taking a lot of cues from this other one, and I think that's fine. That's just how he wants to do it, but I would be interested to know how he would have done, you know, just doing his own thing, I guess. But then I think maybe it's a marketing thing, and getting close to that artist might actually have helped him gain some of that artist's audience, maybe? I don't know. I tried to figure out for a while what he was gauging with that, but yeah. Yeah, and that's why I don't participate in the fan art thing. I actually started noticing, like, fan art can be a beautiful thing. It really can be. But it got really dark when people were cashing in on celebrity deaths and selling them at conventions. Like, that was really messed up. I saw there was this person at a convention selling, like, whimsy, like, dreamlike portraits of Robin Williams and David Bowie, and I'm sure by now they've probably done a Prince one, but it's like, that feels very dirty to me, to be almost, you know, collecting money off someone's death, because it's like, yeah, you could just have done the celebrities that are alive, but there's something so wrong about the fact you're doing them right now, you know, these ones right now, you know, when they're obviously not here anymore. Like, that motivation to me, that intention, is very dark. So I don't want to say I don't associate with those people, but I don't seek them out. Like, if I see them at a convention, and, you know, if they, you know, you gotta pick and choose your artists like you would your other types of friends, you know. Especially when you get older, you start dating, I guess, people. We've talked about this before here, but like, you're dating for friendship, basically. You need to find out, you know, your friends are, you know, is this person compatible with me on a friendship level? Like, do we have similar, you know, similar interests and all those sorts of things. It gets harder when you're older, especially when people start having families, and so they're stolen by that. So it's like, if you don't have those long-standing friends that you've had forever, kind of, and you're kind of alone like me, it's harder to find new people. So, you know, at conventions, I'm always kind of on guard, seeing, you know, oh, this person be a cool friend, you know, that, this, there, and the other thing. But it's hard, you know. Well, Alice, I'm saying they they sell it, you know. So like at a convention, they've got it and they're selling it. Like just that act isn't right. No, don't be terrified, Jazzy. So that's the good thing. Just start kind of going with it. If your lines aren't straight, don't worry about it. It's a fantasy building. It doesn't have to be. Like, in fact, I would say, I'm guessing one of your buildings is mushroom based because you're into mushrooms right now. So, I would say just make it super organic if it is. Just let it be a mess. Every building doesn't have to be, perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It can be a mess. Like, think about the type of people that live there. Maybe they're a mess. People are messes. Oh, pot. Cool. See, there you go. Is it a new pot, old pot? What's the pot story? They just build it. Is it old? Maybe it has a purpose, maybe it doesn't. This one I'm going to try to have some fun with the light. It's okay. See, but Jazzy, you said you get territorial about things. So the mushroom thing, don't put yourself into, I guess, a corner. Because I do that too. Like, I have mushroom stories, about a little character and stuff that I made like years ago, and I'm gonna probably do something with him later, but it's like certain things I find come in and out of popularity. So I had a moth story I've been working on for a while, and when moths came into being really popular in the last 2 years, I've noticed, because obviously I had a finger on the vein of this, moth thing, and no one was doing moth art, right, when I started this story. And then all of a sudden moth art just exploded, especially with enamel pins. I feel like once enamel pins came into being the new thing to sell, moths were everywhere. And I was like, well, shit, is this good or bad for the fact that I'm working on this story? And I don't know. And what sucks is sometimes you'll get worried. Like, I got really worried. I was like, shit, does this mean this is the moth train and I missed it? Like, should I have had my story out right now? Would more people like it? And you cannot get caught up in that. I went down a dark road because of that. Because I was too worried about, how my story was going to do because of the pulse of what the internet and everything was into at the time. And, I can't do that. And I worry that, someone else will think the same idea that I do. You can't worry about that either, because I always remind myself, if you both had the same idea, it would still 100% be a different story. And you have to put trust in that. Otherwise, you won't do your story. And you need to do your story, right? Whatever that story is, you need to do it. So, super important. Oh, good, Ashley, yeah. Hi, Jamie. How you doing? It's okay, Jamie. Everyone's a mess. If they look like they're not a mess, they're lying. Everybody's a mess in some way. We're all, like, going through stuff. Everyone's going through a thing. Just different things, different levels of it. You just gotta be nice to everybody, knowing that, people are going through stuff. Thanks, Alex. So, the whole thing about just letting go with the ink, I'm just going, man. Like, a lot of Inktobers got me to this point where I got pretty fearless with ink. And also, I use the fantasy buildings, and maybe some of you would want to do this too, but I use the fantasy buildings as a sort of just a mindless thing. Because you can put on all these textures and things. If you're more of an analytical personality, maybe try bricks or something with a pattern where you can kind of just zone out and just be doing the bricks, right? For me right now, there's this hay, and this hay is kind of driving me nuts at the moment. And I should be drawing bigger chunks of it at a time, but when I was talking, I just got into doing this. This is not normally how I would be doing hay. Here, I'll do what I would normally be doing. Or try to retrofit it in. Anyway, but use it maybe as like a relaxing thing where you don't have to think too much about it. It's not like it has anatomy. You know, it's got certain traits that you have to put in somewhere sometimes. Maybe it has a window, maybe it doesn't, maybe it has a door, maybe it has 14 doors. You know, like that's the nice thing about buildings. They can kind of be whatever and there's no real rules. Even though, you know, I feel like a lot of people think architecture, they think very rigid, they think very mathematical. But if it's a fantasy building, it can be anything, you know, fantasy, sci-fi, what have you. So I say next time you're doodling, maybe you're talking to somebody on the phone, maybe you're going to bed soon, you just want to take 10 minutes and do something, you know, think of just drawing a stupid building. And it could be whatever, you know. And that's why I'm kind of not stressing the ink side of this. It's just like, well, it's hay. It's got to have certain attributes to it. The wood, certain things. My dog is whining. I don't know why. She might just want a hug, Gabe. Yeah. Let's see. This will be a window. And I guess while you're doing it, just remember certain things like, you know, textures. Some things are dotted. You know, some things are polka dotted. Some things have line work. I'm also trying to just get to the stage with value so I can start doing some marker. But here, let's draw a plank in here. Here we go. And after you draw enough textures, you'll start realizing what makes a certain texture that look of a texture. So, like wood. Like, you know, this is probably wood right here for a couple key elements. It's got striations that go in a certain direction. It has certain lines at the end of where it, you know, is cut here, right? And those look like wood. So once you've figured out what makes wood look like wood, what makes hay look like hay, and you know, you kind of do that from just looking at it and distilling down what makes this thing, you know, then you can easily recreate it. Some artists would call that a hack. I would just say it's distilling, you know. You're figuring out what makes that thing. So I'm going to have this building be half stone and half wood. So this right here is going to be wood. Though this is such a small little area, I don't know how much it's going to be apparent. But we will try. And then don't be afraid of spot blacks. I think everybody can always use some spot black practice. Spot blacks are basically just giant chunks of shadow, typically, that you just, like, this is a little bit of a spot black, this is a spot black. Honestly, I'll probably just take this whole area and black it out. Because it's usually a spot that helps the other elements around it speak louder. And people use it for, you know, dramatic lighting or, you know, to bring focus to some other area. Let's see. Could do more over here too if I wanted to, just to push that back. It helps with depth, you know, so if you've got some stuff that's kind of behind other things, you can push them back a little bit more with spot blacks and hatching. Oh. That's great, Jamie. Good for you. Yeah, I feel like mushrooms have also become a certain thing too. It's like mushrooms, gemstones, moths, and maybe it's just because I'm into those things. You notice when they get popular. That could also be a thing. You know, you notice things because you're looking for them. That sort of thing. Yeah, I've gotten Sticker Mules die-cut stickers before. Their sticker sheet I was not a fan of. Gabe and I actually bought at Cricut, so we make our own stickers at home now. Because every place we were getting stickers made, it just... very subpar. So like, Sticker Mule's sticker sheet, I wish I had one near... well, maybe I do. Wait. Yeah, okay, I've got one. Hold on. I can show you what happens here. Excuse me, dogs. Okay, so these were Sticker Mules. Already they're kind of bad quality because they've been shifted, right? This isn't usually a kiss cut good thing. So if you look at them, there's huge amounts of space between each owl, and they made me go back 2 times and scale down my owls even more so there are these giant gutters. And this sheet just looks very unimpressive, right? But then I've got this sheet here, and this is the one I did. So you can see how accurate that cut is, right? And I got to actually push them really close together so I could get bigger stickers out of it. So I'm a lot happier with this than I was with this. Now, if you don't have the kind of money to get a Cricut, because we did it and we knew we'd be able to make back the money pretty quick using it. But this is a decent option. Like, these still aren't horrible. But the Cricut, oh, it's so much better. Like,
it's also expensive.
What do you mean? The Cricut?
No, going with...
Oh yeah, Sticker Mule is a lot more expensive too than technically that sheet is. If you're doing it like cost of... I forget what it's called, but like... Cost, you know, just, cost per sheet. You're saving a lot more with doing it at home. As opposed to, you know, paying for shipping, having them do it, that sort of thing. So I give away these stickers now because I don't feel right selling them when I know I can make better quality at home and sell these, you know, for a good price, you know, so. Alex, I think I gave you a sheet of the old stickers. They're still good, and these are actually better quality, like thickness-wise, than these are.
So the Sticker Mule is actually, it's like weatherproof,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the ones that we make aren't as weatherproof, but you get a lot better.
So here's the trade-off. Unless you're gonna dig your heels into stickers, and get like vinyl ones, or you know, the kind that, like, there are some sticker heads out there that are super particular about what their stickers have. But if you're just doing like an impulse buy, I'm at a con or I'm online and, you know, this is like $5, $8, and it's literally just a pick up and go, throw you a bill type of situation. People know these are usually just for, you know, notebooks and things. But it's pretty noticeable when, you know, someone's selling singles and they say that they're vinyl, they're, you know, weatherproof, they're meant for your car. Like, that's a whole different process. And the only people I know who sell those are the ones that are, like, they've been doing stickers for years and they've established a fan base for it and they've dug their heels into just stickers, and that's all they did. So I wouldn't say spend a lot of your resources on stickers unless, you know, you're gonna be really putting some effort into them. If you're just doing a sheet or something, cool. I would suggest, though, never doing singles. Singles are a pain in the butt, whether it's online or at a convention. The reason for that is you're spending more time and more money either traveling with them, packing them, or having people waste time at your convention table. Usually at a convention table, you want people to be there for, 30 seconds to a minute and then have them move on, right? Because that time is taken up from other people coming to your table. So you want all your stuff that is shown to be simple, to the point, cohesive, easy to go. So the problem with a lot of anime conventions is that they all have single stickers that they're selling, and they'll get people that are really indecisive, because a lot of the time you do get indecisive people, and they come up and they're just staring at this giant sticker board that says 3 for $5, and they're trying to pick out the stickers they want. First of all, that's taking time away from other people coming to your table. Second of all, once they've figured it out, they're going to tell you, and then you're behind the table trying to find all those stickers in all the ones you've got. So that's like 3 to 5 minutes gone by already, right? So you definitely don't want to do singles. And online, it's not even worth it. To sell a single sticker and ship it off, not worth your time. So, yes, I do have bookmarks, actually. Let me see if I only sell them at conventions, though. Just because, once again, they're like $5 each, which basically, to me, means that they're not really worth selling online. Now, if I did like a bookmark pack and sold it online for like 10 or $15, then it's more worth it. Let me see if I can find the Insta story where I did some name tags or some bookmarks. Content. Stories. I think the last time I brought my bookmarks was... What was the last con I did, Gabe?
Dragon Con?
Was it Dragon Con? Okay. I might have done a post for that. I can't remember how. Oh! Alex, I forgot to tell you during our talk. Really quick. You should really check out Journey June. I'll go into what that is in a minute, but yeah, I've got a few bookmarks. I don't know where they are right now. They're downstairs. I think I've got about 5. I've got the mice dancing is one. I've got the mouse and the snail is another. I've got the giraffe is another one. I've got this piece I did for Jamie where there's a woman that's puking gold on a goose. I don't know. I had this weird thought and I did it. I think that's... Oh, and I've got a long bird that's wearing a scarf. So I guess that's like 6 bookmarks. But yeah, I have a laminator. So this is cool. This is actually a really cheap option for anybody who wants to have another product. Amazon has their own laminator that you can buy that's really nice, really cheap, good quality. And then you can buy a pack of lamination sleeves that are like, I think you get 100 of them for like 10 or $11. And all you do is print, like if you've got a nice, decent, actually I'll say decent, our printer is decent. Print them out on your printer, cut them out, put them in the lamination sleeve, laminate it, cut it out again, round off the corners, maybe slap a tassel on it. It's like half an hour's worth of work to do a bunch of these, and honestly, people really like bookmarks. They're a really nice passive thing to do. Okay, so Journey June, for Alex in particular, when we were talking about stories, Alex, Journey June is a challenge Gabe and I started 2 years ago?
Yes.
Where we took the formula of the hero's journey, which with how much you read, I know you're familiar with this. So we took the hero's journey and we broke it down into fitting inside of a month. So anybody can basically just take what we've done in the Instagram profile, and you'll see all the prompts we did. And you could basically do Journey June any month, but every day has a main, like, objective, I would say, a main objective to illustrate for that day. And we highly suggest people do roughs, right? Because as artists, we don't really like doing outlines very much. We like doing thumbnails instead. We think visually. So for me to sit down and do an outline, usually it's kind of hard, but it's easy for me to actually draw the scenes because I see them in my head. So it's easier to thumbnail. So we urge people to keep them extremely rough. You are not doing, an illustration a day here. These are just thumbnails. And you can see if you look up either one of these hashtags on Instagram, those are my stories from the past 2 years. You'll see what I mean. They're extremely rough, but you can actually read through them. And you get the whole story because we did them over, an entire month. And every day has a different objective that's listed in the picture, but then they have expanded prompts, which are here. So if you need more explanation or a couple examples of what we mean with that prompt, they're expanded upon within, that link. So usually every June, though, the impetus to do it actually during June is at the end of June. We offer a publishing class. So once you've actually finished, your story, a lot of people kind of lose steam because they're like, okay, even if I do finish, this story, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to publish it. So what we do is we offer a free publishing class that we teach you how to make a digital book. We teach you how to make a zine, which is kind of a crappy, low quality, low budget type of thing. And then we teach you to do a saddle stitch, which is, stitched at the seam with usually staples. And then we also show you how to do a perfect bound book. And perfect bound books are the most common you see. They have like a really nicely bound side. They're every book that's been published, officially, if you think about, what that looks like. So we show you, places to go for that, options for it, all that sort of thing. So, and then usually in May, we give a little bit of like a primer. We have you create a hero. Now, you're not allowed to use any pre-existing characters you've ever made or any existing characters in any other IP. It is solely just for this exercise. We want you to go from scratch, right? So, I'll give you a link here. So I go through what makes a hero and, kind of how to do the sandbox thing. A little bit of what I talked about with you the other day. But this will tell you kind of how to create a hero in the easiest, most bare bones sense to take it through this journey. That's good, Jazzy. That's really good. Local printer too. That's great. Great prices, like less than $5 per book. Because I think, what were we getting at our last place? Was it like $2 a book?
No, it was about 5. Everywhere else that I've found is over 7.
Okay, so if you can get 5 or less, you're doing good.
Unless, of course, if it's like a 30-page or less book and you're getting it for 5, then that's not good either.
Yeah, I guess it does depend on how thick your book is and what paper. Yeah, every paperback, you got it. Okay, I'm gonna rough in all the rest of this stuff so I can get in some values here quickly, because I only wanted to go for an hour, because I gotta get back to my legit work. I'm starting to freak out about it. probably hear my dog snoring. Sometimes that makes me really tired if I'm working and I hear the dog snoring. I'm like, man, I just want to be sleeping. I'll do one little rock there. Page count, I see the 40. Oh, that's great, Jazzy. Yeah, those are actually good prices. When they start dream barking, that's true. And it's like muffled and they're like, mm, mm, mm. Ours does this really sad thing. You want to come up, Butter? You want to come up? Here. So one of our dogs is a rescue well, two of our dogs are rescues, but one had a really traumatic situation where she was in a hoarding situation with like, how many, like 18 dogs? Was it 12 or 18?
I think it was like 30.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Apparently a really bad hoarding situation with a bunch of other dogs. And so sometimes when she's sleeping, we actually hear her like dream screaming. And it's kind of sad. Like, I'll wake up and hear it and I'll start petting her and then it'll subside. But it's like, it's not barking. It's like it's this whine, like this whimper, and it's unsettling. And I feel so bad for her because it's like we can't really do much to help her with that. You know? I mean, other than make her life now happy, but I think she has some PTSD, man. But the bulldog has not had a hard life at all, so she dream barks. They dream run too, I love that. That's great. Trying not to draw them the same way. I have this bad habit sometimes of drawing the same thing a few times, like if I'm doing something repetitive, like I accidentally do it the same a couple times. So I have to like consciously try not to draw the same thing. Alright, and then let's put this kind of on a cliff, I guess. Okay. Let's see. Alright, this might be enough for me to go on then. Okay. Now let's erase them. Getting close to my favorite part. My favorite part is the gel pen. Love doing that. Thank you, Lord Old Wolf. How are you? Welcome to the stream. We're doing quick buildings tonight. Like, do any of you ever get cravings to do a certain texture or like maybe a certain seasonal something, like maybe drawing something with snow on it? Like, do you ever get drawing cravings? Because I find that doing the buildings is a perfect time to actually explore that. Like, sometimes I just really want to draw hay because it's really chaotic and it's fun to practice the depth within it. you know. So like sometimes you really want to do that. Sometimes you really want to do hair or rope, you know, or something like that. You can usually play with that. Pot to be in without the pot just being a floating pot. Think of different biomes, Jazzy. So like, you've already got the idea of it floating in water. You could have it be stuck on a branch, like having a branch go and it's upside down. You could have it teetering on a stick. You could have it stuck within like a tree trunk or maybe the side of a tree. You could have it being carried by something. It could be carried by a bird or, you know, don't get into the logistics or physics of that. I don't have any idea. But maybe it is embedded within something else, you know. So Jamie, we're actually selling our old 3 ones if you want one of those. They were originally 90, but we're selling them for like, what, $50? $50. We've got 3 of them. So if you're interested, they're in great condition. There you go, cacti. That's a good one. I gotta admit that I think one of my weaker points is that I'm never usually thinking of the South. Like, I'm so Midwestern since I'm from Minnesota that I think a lot of the time about, you know, like that type of nature that's there. I'm never thinking about like desert flowers or cactuses or anything, but it doesn't mean I don't like them, it's just they never come to mind. I'm super guilty of that. Or like I'm thinking of European like plants like yew trees and stuff. Or like ivy. Oh, Black Friday sales. Well, you're not going to find ours for even cheaper than Black Friday, so if you want them, they're there. We're probably going to put up a post for them within the next week, I think. Because we just made sure that this new camera we got works. And then, like I said, they're usually 90, but, you know, we want to sell them before they kind of go obsolete. But they're good cameras. I mean, they lasted us, what, 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
And there's like nothing wrong with them.
Nothing wrong with them. The only reason we're changing to a different one is because we wanted truer colors. Like, they do pretty true colors, but we wanted something where we could actually change a lot more options about what we're seeing. So that's good, Alice. Good for you. What is it again? It's an IPEVO HD. What's the full name?
Ziggy.
Oh, Ziggy IPEVO. That's what it was. Gabe's gonna get you a link, Jamie, so you can see what they look like. They're 100 now? Okay,
I
well,
think they were always 100.
we might have gotten like 2 of them on sale or something. Because I remember them being 90. At least when we got 2 of them.
I think they were like, I think because it's 99. So that probably just stuck in there.
Oh.
I'd say they're actually kind of like, in a sense, they're kind of better than what we have right now because it's like they're designed for like drawing, you know?
They're
Or
designed for documents.
Yeah, it's
so.
designed to film something that's on your table that's like a book.
Yeah, and honestly, I am actually really sad that our new camera doesn't have the kind of articulation these do. Like, I'm really sad about that. Because the one we have now is technically just a face cam, but it has such good color recognition on it that it was like, well, damn it. You know, so now we gotta figure out how to rig this new one, but we'll probably be keeping one of the old ones just in case, because they are good cameras. Okay, usually I wouldn't skip ahead to this part, but I am, like, really wanting to do the gel pen. Well, as with any camera, Jamie, you might have to change your lighting setup. Like, my lighting setup right now is completely different than when I normally draw, just because of filming. Like, you want as many, like, I guess even spots as you can get. Right now I've got a couple harsh shadows just because I set this up super janky right now. Because it's the first time I've done this one. This is my favorite part though, is just toning with the marker. How much for shipping? Free shipping. They're pretty light, so we'll just do free shipping. Okay, so let's see. I also find just drawing rocks, I know this is gonna sound so stupid, but just drawing rocks is honestly super therapeutic too. Just because there's kind of no wrong way to draw a rock. Granted, I've drawn a bunch of them before, so I kind of know basically what they're about, but really you can't draw like a rock wrong, right? They're like the most organic thing you can get. So it's like if somebody tells you that you drew a rock wrong, you can call them on it. You're like, you're full of shit. This rock is gorgeous. This is just a rock. How dare you? Take it up with nature. Oh, I'm not even near the wall, Jazzy. And Gabe's about 5 feet from his wall. Our desk setups are a little interesting. Poke them in the eye, they're not using it. True that. True that. Oh, that's cool, Alex. Oh, there's a whole series of these. Wow. What's your favorite part about the book? That's neat. It's a writer's guide. That's cool. If you guys do buildings, like for your, you know, I'm gonna call it your cool down tonight. Let's assume you've drawn today already, huh? How about your buildings are your cool down for today? Maybe put them in the Discord if you do them. I'd be interested to see what kind of buildings you think up when you're just kind of chilling. Remember, they're just sketches. It doesn't have to be anything like, you know, crazy conceptual if you don't want it to be conceptual. You know what I mean? Like, it just make it a super low-key thing. Don't put too much into it. Don't put too much weight on it. Just have fun with it. Do something stupid. Whatever. Let's see. We'll get a dark one. And then some water. So what I'm doing basically with all the stuff tonight, like all these things I'm using for this piece, are what I'm giving away in my contest. So it's basically what I started doing marker with originally. Was that kit that I showed on my Instagram. So if anybody wants a free kit of this, go draw my characters. I also think it's kind of funny, sometimes I'll forget to draw like a complete part of the drawing. I'll just totally forget. Absolute whole part. Oh no, Jazzy. Maybe do another one now. Like a really quick, even time yourself. Maybe just a 10-minute rough sketch. See what it looks like after 10 minutes. And if you want to keep going with it, cool. If you don't, that's okay. But like maybe that building was your warm-up building. I mean, maybe you haven't really done buildings before, so maybe that was your, you know, one of your first, I'm actually drawing a buildings. Ooh, cool, Alex. I'm into that. I think it's good for artists to get really kind of good at kind of throwing out adjectives and like research biomes and different things. Like, I feel pretty lucky because I was in games for so long that I've got this visual library. Every time I'm like brainstorming, I can pull from it and be like, well, I want it to be a tavern, and I want it to be in the Arctic, and I want there to be these type of animals, and I want there to be, you know, lots of cloth and lots of fur everywhere, and, you know, so you can just brainstorm like that. Just start thinking of adjectives to throw in that would make sense for that biome and that habitat, the type of characters that'd be there, you know, outfits, think of what people are wearing, you know. Try to revolve it around a character, though, because that's going to be the easiest way to do it. Oh my god, my lamp keeps moving. This is the funniest thing. There we go. It's a bit more consistent. I love it, Jazzy. Go with it. Own it. For those of you who are drawing along with me, awesome. I'm proud of you. I don't care what kind of day you've had, good, bad, whatever. If you're drawing right now, you're doing a good thing. You're progressing your experience. Proud of you. Of course it does, Alice. You're doing something. You're planning. That's important. I would love if you guys actually posted these. Not just for me to see, but for us to kind of just have, you know, a community looking at it. Kind of like a group critiquing sesh, you know? But you don't have to critique anything. You know, just share. Get used to sharing your stuff.
Just do it under our breath.
Gabe. It is important, though, to just get used to posting.
This looks really fucking good.
Yeah, we'll be really supportive about it. I mean, we are really supportive about it. Gabe, don't scare people. Alex, feel free to join our Discord too if you want. If you're looking for kind of a little art community, we've got a decent one on there. Decent just in size, I guess. We're not huge, you know. It's kind of a little Discord. I think we've got like 200 people. It's quiet most of the time. It's not like there's tons of notifications or anything. It's modest. I'll say that. It's modest. Wanted this to kind of be like clay, but also not. I'm using this as my break tonight because I've been go, go, go all day. Really, Alex? How? Long ago? Like the Discord? That's good though, Serenity. I'm glad you just choose this time to do that. I feel really cool about that. Oh, Jazzy, I totally understand. Yeah, Discord can be kind of crazy. I mean, it's called Discord. That's like the root of the word. It's basically chaos. So I totally get that. I'd say, like, if you don't normally post on, let's say, Instagram or something, but you still want to, you know, get your stuff out there, I guess Discord could be a cool place for that. Yeah, let's start doing this. I love this part and, like, going over my own line work. Let's see. I'm gonna... That's about right. Brightness down, contrast up. That's a little bit more true. Really? Oh, well, welcome. Twitch actually has a really nice art community on it. It's small, but I think there, you know, we know a lot of the people on here. We've become good friends with a few of them. Like our buddy Wade, Steve Sketches comes in here sometimes. Cassie Draws knows of us. Like, Twitch actually has a pretty good creative community. And sometimes it's really cool if somebody's like cooking or, you know, crocheting or someone else is painting. It's cool to just kind of, if you're feeling lonely or something, you want to go, you know, talk to someone that's doing something arty. It's a good place for that. Like, let's say you got sick of audiobooks. I know you probably wouldn't, but if you did, and you wanted to, like, talk to people, interact, maybe, like, you know, check out people's Instagrams or something, I feel like Twitch is good for that stuff. I'm gonna actually black out this window. Oh, really, Jazzy? Here, I'll do it again. Honestly, water's one of those things too. It's just, let's see. Let me find some scrap paper, something. Yeah, I probably won't do anything with, well, maybe. Okay, this one. I'm gonna take that guy out. Okay. On the back of this one, let's say we've got, I'll use a bigger thing so you can see it. Here is a rock. Here's the water around said rock. Here is a little bit of the rock peeking under the water. Alright? Here's our rock. Now, I usually go up to the surface of the water with a couple swipes. And this is why you get the brush tip markers, so you can do this. Because water usually has some rim light on it, so I usually go up to the rim light and then kind of swipe back and forth. Depends on how turbulent the water is. Typically I do pretty serene water. I don't go crazy unless it's like crashing up on something. Let's do the rock really quick. This is 10. Okay. Go a little bit darker over here. Hold on. Yep, there's a 30. Throw this in here. Okay. And then I kind of treat water like I treat metal. So a little bit of the time I'll go up to the edge of where I've drawn some of the edging already and darken that, because that's kind of how you do metal. Just contrast up to the edge of stuff here. And it's just kind of zigzaggy, honestly, but the brush tip allows you to make really nice gradation on certain parts with flicks. I think part of getting down markers is understanding how to kind of own the flicking. Hey, Spongy! How you doing? And then if you want to blend it a little bit more, I usually go up 1 or 2 levels. So then that's my base. And then I'm gonna take the white. Caps lock, Caps lock does that, man. And then I'm going back in and I'm gonna dot in some of the sparkles here. And I'll go into the lightest areas I already did. And I'll kind of blend it and then re-sparkle. Blend it and re-sparkle. And just remember, make your lines pretty close together, because water only has kind of a spread out shine when you're looking at it from a certain angle. But it's chaotic. Again, it's similar to rocks, where it's like, you know, you can't really say it's wrong. I mean, it's water, right? There are certain things that make water look more like water, and if you can kind of figure out what those things are, you can dial them up, dial them down, pull them back, whatever you want to do. Maybe. And I usually do a little bit of refraction here with the rock, so when it goes underwater, it kind of gets pushed over or away. You know how when you put your hand underwater and it gets all disfigured? It's kind of the same. That's a refraction. Alright. Yeah! Always the smudgy thing. I swear by the smudgy thing. So I've been doing this toned thing with these gel pens and colored pencils probably for like 7 years now, something like that. So anyway, you want to do the gel pen before the colored pencil though, because you can't go over colored pencil with the gel pen. So there you go. That's kind of how I did the water. I probably went a little too crazy on the colored pencil, but alright. Let's go back to our building. We were in the middle of doing some shading with it. Okay. And it was gonna be snowing, remember? Yeah. And since I think this would be a pretty small house, I'm gonna make big flakes. Big flakes. So that means I get to put some snow on this hay, which is a really fun part. I really like doing snow scenes for this reason. I know it sounds stupid, but I get really excited when I get to go over my own line work and kind of mess it up to get an effect. So like, example, with these lamps here, after I've gotten the gel pen in there to do the hot spot, I take a colored pencil and I just kind of do an aura out from it and really screw with the line work, because if you're lightening up the lines, it really helps make it look like it's actually bright. And that's really fun. There you go. No! Alice, go ahead. Ask. Ask, ask, ask. Butters, are you too warm? Do you need to get up? See, I probably should have thought of the snow settling on the stones before I did the colored pencil, but kind of forgot that. Oh well. Maybe it'll be gracious this time and let us actually put the gel pen over it. I'm gonna put some icicles here. Oh man, that just got more fun. Gel pen goes under the colored pencil. Basically, anything you ever use with colored pencil, the colored pencil has to go over it. The only exception is pastels, because I use pastels on all my pet portraits, and it actually helps fill in the graininess of the colored pencil. So I usually use those at varying times during the process, but you can definitely put pastel over colored pencil. Oh, you guys, this is so much fun right now. Doing these drippy icicles. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the heck, Dicomation? This is out of control. Oh, Spongy, I love you. No, wait. No, the camera I'm using right now is a new one. We've got 3 of the ones Gabe sent you that we're selling. So for those that missed it, like Spongy, in case you want like a streaming cam or whatever, the ones we've been using up until today, like I just switched to this one I'm using right now today. But any other time you've seen us do traditional work, we're selling those cameras we were using because we got this new one. And they're good. They're good cameras. There's nothing wrong with them. We just got a little bit more nitpicky about what we wanted out of our camera. So now we've got one camera that we're going to be basically passing back and forth when we're streaming instead of the 3 we had before. But the cameras we're selling are online at 100, apparently. Gabriel looked it up. And, Gabe, you want to pop it in one? And, like, they have really good articulation, which, like I said, I'm going to miss the hell out of that. But, I don't know. I guess it's kind of worth it. Trade-off. Really, it's just a trade-off. No, the 4K Logitech one is ours. The one we're using now. The Ziggy iPivo that Gabe just linked, that's the one that we're selling. Oh, it's 4K. I didn't realize the iPivo was 4K.
Huh?
The iPivo was 4K. I didn't even know.
Yeah. Well, the new one.
Oh,
This
the
one
new
isn't 4K.
one.
But also,
So ours aren't 4K, right?
yeah, but also, like, you can't stream 4K.
Right.
Like, that's not
Oh,
a thing
yeah,
you can do
okay.
right now.
that makes sense.
Or at least from what I understand. Like that, you can't do like you can't stream 60 frames. No, you can't. Ah,
Are you dying?
yeah. Yeah, like there's certain limits to streaming that servers just can't do right now.
Okay,
And I think 4K.
but for the sake of advertising, that one isn't ours?
Correct. Ours is the version before.
Okay, so what... I don't want to, like, give people the wrong...
It's
Camera.
still an awesome camera.
It's a good camera, yeah,
Yeah.
but, I mean, what's different from the new one than the one we'd be selling,
I'm
though?
pretty sure it's just the 4K.
Okay. Because, like I said, I don't want to... I don't want them to get it and be like, what the fuck? We might keep one of the 3 just in case, but we don't need 3. I mean, we barely dual stream anymore, so we don't really need that. Yeah, we have Macs. It's just a USB hookup, so it would work with any computer that has a USB. Just know the main thing that I think is good about it is it has a manual focus. You can turn on the autofocus, but I would never use it. We never did, because let me see if I can actually show you what it does. So on this camera, there's a thing I can click, and I just did it. Autofocus. See how when my pen gets closer to the camera, it focuses either on like the text or it keeps focusing. See how it just does that randomly? And it's like, it's jarring that it always does that. So you want a camera that has manual focus so you can actually focus it yourself and it stays there. So this is always crisp no matter how close or far away I am from the camera. Yeah, so never get a stream cam for your traditional work that's autofocus. Bad, 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 bad. It took us a while to actually learn that. Oh man. See? Remember I told you I forget complete parts of pieces sometimes? Guess where I forgot? Dun dun dun. This whole area down here. Goodness! Goodness! Why, Ashley? Why? There you go. Better. Light doesn't really affect focus as much, but this camera we bought is cool because it actually has a white balance, which is nice. So if it's too colored, if it's too washed out, I can find what looks closest to what I'm doing right now, which is awesome. The cameras we had before that didn't have that, but it acted like a normal camera where if you have white, it'll adjust. Like, this is how you white balance something. You get something stark white and you put it in the camera and it adjusts. So if I remember it, it did that. But you can also adjust that stuff in OBS too. It's a pain, and we didn't want to have to do that. But like, when you have manual focus, light and stuff shouldn't affect it, no. Because it just stays to where you set it. And on the IPVOs, which... So, on this fella. So here's, you can see Butters. Butters is down here. She's taking a nap. So they do have this really nice articulation, you know? But like I said, they have these nice buttons on top, which AF is autofocus. So you can either use that or not if you want to. And then this is a manual focus, which is really nice. So if like you got closer, you adjusted your camera and you needed it to like refocus, you just press that and it refocuses. And then it's got like exposure settings here if you want it brighter or darker just on the fly. It's pretty nice. And then, you know, this has really nice articulation. This has really nice articulation. This does. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 points, which the one I'm using right now is not even. No. I wish it had that. If I could like blend the two together, I totally would. Totally would.
Whenever you just gut this.
I already thought about that before you came home. See how I've got this?
Yeah.
I actually took this and like taped it to the IP bow.
No.
It's too heavy. It kept weighing it down, so I couldn't even like use it. Yeah, it's the Ziggy one. Nope, that was my phone. Beep beep. Gabe, are you just like Twitter centric tonight? What's up?
It's Friday night.
You tweeting like crazy on Friday. Did you release your toy?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you want to plug it? If anybody's into collecting Gabe's toys he makes on the side of his illustration comics work, nerd. No, I'm just kidding. We all have like side gigs. Do you want to explain them?
It's just an orc head.
Orc head.
That's it.
That's true. It is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty basic.
Are you gonna make those out of like rubber ball material? Can you do that?
Yeah, I bought some new stuff.
Oh my god.
After this batch. It's not like super rubber ball material, but it's
That'd be fun as hell though, man.
squishy enough. They'll go all over the damn place, but it's alright.
Like bounce?
Yeah, you know, it'd be like a football, but just because it's not like perfectly round, so it'll just clip a corner of the face and go over it.
Oh, cool. Butters, are you awake? Spongy wanted to see you. Butters. 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 Hey, you awake? You sleeping?
Oh, you alone.
I'm sorry, you're sleeping. Oh, but she's happy to get pets. And then Bruni's down there. She's totally out of it. I don't know where Chancha is. Chancha's over in the kitchen. Dogs, dogs, dogs. I'd say it's better than a good starter camera. Honestly, I'd say it's probably intermediate camera. Gabe, what would you say?
Oh yeah. Because I mean, like I said, like there aren't all. I mean, there are a bunch of cameras that are like sort of designed like this one.
Like we talked Tim into getting this one a long time ago.
Yeah.
Tim used that for a while, and then when he got like super mega popular rich, he got a better one.
Oh no! Didn't he go like Then he went to like a teachers conference, and he saw them there.
Oh wait, he told us.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, sorry, Tim told us about them.
Yeah.
Or no, that was his second camera. Wasn't it? Because he got a second one that was like a teaching one.
No, it was this one.
It was this one?
Yeah, I remember because and then because I think him and Tyler went together. Because then Tyler got an IPVO sketchbook and it was square and it was awesome and I wanted one real bad.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind. My story's backwards. Tim went to a teaching conference when he was with CG Cookie, found these, came home, we all got them, everybody used them forever, and then Tim got a better camera later, which I think was that Sony one, and then we tried it, and we couldn't figure out how it worked.
Yeah, and it also wasn't that great.
It wasn't,
But
no.
I think it was also because of our lighting situation.
Yeah, we were in the basement, so
Yeah.
that sucked.
But like they have a lot of cameras that are sort of like this, where it's meant to like record, you know, a book, a document,
Yeah.
or art.
Well,
But
wait a
but they don't have the hinges like this one.
right. Jamie, so the Logitech one we have right now that you're seeing, this one is the Logitech Brio. This is the one we're using right now that we're selling the IPVOs because we got this one. And it is meant for faces, but we needed a camera that was better with like color. And this one's actually awesome. So if you want to get what we're using right now, you can buy that online. I think it was what, 180?
Yeah, let me get it.
But if you don't mind a step down in like crispness, and I guess you can use the sharpen filter though in OBS because it's what we were using before today. You
I feel like
can.
you won't really notice.
You won't notice.
Unless you have it, but because we.
You won't notice until you've been doing it for a while, and then you find something better, and then you'll be like, oh, that is better than what I'm using.
See, like the one that I just linked is the one that we just got. And honestly, like if you understand how to light and you understand how to.
Yeah, I had good lighting, those worked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I rarely can do good lighting because I'm in like this little desk cave.
Yeah.
So this new one works really good. I've only got one light on right now and it looks pretty well lit. But yeah, like depending on what you've got going on. But we figured since we've had our IPVOs for a while, but they're in great condition, but we knocked off like $50 from it. But like if you like what you see right now, that's the one that Gabe linked. Like that's the new one we got that we're gonna be passing back and forth. Yep, and that's what we did, you know. The IPVOs when we got them were so cheap that's why we got like, I think at the time we got 4 of them. I think we have 4.
It was staggered.
I don't know where the 4th one is.
Yeah.
I've got 2 behind me. I think you've got one over there.
I think we only had 3.
No, we have 4.
Because I don't know why we would get 4. I mean, we wouldn't need 4.
I remember having 2 hooked up though and you using 2.
No. Because I couldn't. We were using one. You were using your Mac for the camera, and then you were using one to draw on, and then I was using one to draw on, and I was using one for the camera.
Okay. I used to keep one in here. I don't know where it went. Yeah, whatever you like to do, Jamie. If you end up not liking it, we'll take it back. It's fine. It's not like, you know, we're gonna be like, no, you bought it, you can't do it, blah, blah. You know, we're not like that. If it doesn't work, just give it back. Here, I can find you the exact one we bought.
I can do it.
No, it's in my orders.
But I can do it.
Oh. You've got access to my account?
Yeah, whenever I gotta send you a link, remember?
Guess. I'm already there, though. Okay. Are you able to order or look at that? That's the one. That's the exact order that I made. The thing I like most about it is it's simple. But you have to know how to like take what it has and like use OBS to kind of make it better. Because OBS has filters and stuff you can do, so I was putting on the sharpen filter to make it a little bit more crisp. Because I was blowing it up a bit. So depending on how you use it, you're going to have to change some things. But, I mean, maybe you won't. Maybe you won't have to change anything with how you use it. It's preference, man. Okay, so... Jesus, why are the resale prices so big?
Because they don't make them anymore.
But that's weird, somebody just wouldn't buy a newer one. Like, why would you buy an old IPEVO instead of using, like, buying what's better nowadays? That's weird. Oh, when you're streaming, Jamie? Let's do a little bit of sugar. There we go. Okay, well, I've streamed for 2 hours. I wasn't planning on that. Jesus, are you serious? God, we're selling them really cheap then. That's fine. We'll give them to you guys for 50, but once we open them up on Instagram, we'll probably be doing 60, just so you guys get a deal.
I feel like there's not much difference between the new ones.
Just the 4K thing?
Yeah, I think they just call it V4K. It's not actually 4K.
LOL. They're lying.
Yeah, they're just throwing in the numbers so that it looks cool.
Oh no.
I literally think it's just a model number and not actual 4K.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can they do that?
Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, you can call it a 4K if you want it.
You can't. I guess you'd never be able to prove it, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. That's shady, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing. That's funny.
I mean, Jamie, if you just want to PayPal me at cloverkinart@gmail.com, just make sure you do friends and family so they don't gouge us. And for those of you who don't know where that is, let's say I was sending Gabe some money. Let's give him $1, because he's the guy. Okay. Click this if you don't want to be feed, you know, and do friends and family. So make sure when you're on this page, woo, that it does friends and family right here. Okay, otherwise you're going to have a fee. And I mean, the fee I'd do if you were actually, like, you know, buying something from someone that made something, you know, but... It'd be easier if you just PayPal'd me straight to my email, though, Jamie. Because otherwise, then I have to send you a request, then you have to accept it, then you gotta do the same thing I just said to do. So it's easier if you just do it right out, because then we're cutting out a step. So you can just PayPal that. Oh, Alex, thanks for the picture. I like that idea too, the holiday huts. This would be, I guess, a cute little, I guess, Christmas card maybe. It's a little too late to do holiday huts right now for this year, but maybe next year I could do like a little bunch for maybe a card set or something. That was a really cute idea. I guess these could be evergreen, like pine needles. I don't see why not. It's just for some reason, whenever I do like thematic buildings, they don't sell well. Like I did that Fortified Flora set, and even when people were thinking, oh yeah, these are fairy houses, I don't know, they didn't sell well. So I stopped selling them. I sell them online still, but I don't bring them to conventions because it's a pain in the ass. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't think people just like to buy buildings. Very strange.
You know what would be really neat?
Hmm.
Like, there was like an art show that I was in once.
Yeah.
Like I was in it was in LA, so I couldn't be there, but it was like a postcard art show.
Cool.
And so you could basically, you got to see the original art, but then you could go and you could buy a postcard of that original art.
That's cool. I could add a character to him, yeah. I had this little walnut house that I did. Let me see if I can find it. And sometimes I don't like adding characters to when I do this just because people, like, a good example is Alice, who's here in the chat, or was. She likes to just kind of imprint whatever character she thinks lives there, and I kind of like that you get to think of who lives there yourself. You know, there's like some bit of give and take where you can actually, like, you know, use your imagination on it. I dig that. Because, I mean, in this case, the person is literally going to be, like, smaller than my pinky, you know? You don't have friends and family option? Why? Weird. Okay, so this was the walnut house. It's just a stupid little house. But I thought about putting a character in there, and I'm like, nah, you know. I get so many people saying Polly Pocket or Mighty Max, and I was like, sure. But I really just wanted to make a walnut house. Oh no, okay, so not friends and family abroad, don't do that one. Put in my email and then you should get it on the next screen. So, I'll lead you through it again. Okay, so, hold on. So I click on Gabe, or type in the email, then go to the next screen, then it'll be like, well, how much? It'll be like $50 to Ashley. And then click the next thing, it'll ask you where you want it to come from, but right here, right under that, it should ask you. And then you can be like friends and family. Yeah, they always try to get you with that first one with friends and family abroad. I think that's if, like, you need to emergency send someone something in, like, Europe.
Yeah.
Europe. I'm gonna go around this right now because I want it to kind of be dark out, and I want all the snow detail I did to stand out more. So I've got a 20% gray here, and I'm going around. And it'll stand out just a bit, just enough to actually, like, separate the stones from the background. And it always looks darker than it ends up. It's very similar to watercolor. So, you know, the minute I put it down, it's going to look a lot darker than when it dries. And then, Jamie, if you want to put your address again in that message, that it's like, you know, do you want to add a note to this, blah, 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 that would help us because then it's all together. Hopefully I wasn't too late saying that. Sorry if I said that too late. If anybody else wants the other one, just, I guess, do the same thing. PayPal us $50 and your address, and we'll send it to you.
Just claim it here first.
Claim it here first, yeah.
Before sending us the cash.
I guess then we'd get a bunch of cash. Okay, so... I think I'm procrastinating at this point because I gotta go back to working on my other stuff, but I'm just having fun kind of dinging around. So after the holidays, my schedule should get a bit better. I should be able to stream more often and at random times. But right now I'm struggling to even do it on Fridays just because I am busy, but no. Let's see. Oh man, off the water. Did he have to go?
I think so. Somebody ordering late night pizza.
Oh man. No! Alice, no, absolutely not. I mean, that's the point of art. I mean, if I didn't fill it in and it's, you know, not a big project for me, it's totally fine. Go for it.
Okay.
But if you were, for some reason, like, taking a story I had and trying to rewrite it with my characters or something, that could be weird. But you're not doing that. You guys doing Thanksgiving and or Christmas stream again? I think so. I don't know why we wouldn't. Thanksgiving, maybe, because that's technically like around our anniversary. Like our anniversary's on the 26th. What day is Thanksgiving?
Last Thursday of the 28th.
So that's 2 days after. We could swing probably a Thanksgiving stream. Yeah? Yeah, we're probably not doing anything, so yeah, we could probably do that. And then Christmas, I'm assuming so. Do you want to do the commission thing again, Gabe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we might do the cheap commissions. What do we call them? Quick draws? We'll do a quick draw again where you get like half price commissions. Good, Jamie. I'm happy to be a part of that. Yeah, we'll try to send it out probably by mid next week if that's okay. I'll give you a tracking number when I do. Well, I'm glad you're having a good day. It sounds like you're having a good day. That's good. Yeah, I think it should, you know, it should work fine. Like in terms of what you need it for. They're in great condition. We treat our stuff very well. And if you have any problems with it, just ask us, hey, why does it do this one thing? Or how do I do this one thing? We'll help you.
Oh, I guess also, how old is your computer?
Well, she's got a Mac.
Oh, she should be fine.
Yeah. I know, right? That's a good question. Okay. I'm gonna do a couple Wispy things. So I'm probably gonna go and work on what I need to work on, holiday commissions. Does anybody have anything they want to ask real quick or questions? I don't know. Oh, dude, chill out.
What was that?
That was my music. Sometimes I get growling men in my music. I like it, but it's weird for a stream. I'm gonna do these little old school wispies. Just for fun. I've stopped doing my convention mentorships for the most part, so if you guys have any questions on that in the future, feel free to ask. I mean, even if I pick up doing them again, there's a lot of info that comes with those, so. Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming. Let's see. Well, this was a nice break. This was pretty fun. I'll probably end up selling these. This one, I'll finish this one. I've been working on this one during lunch breaks. This one I'll sell. I've got one more con this year. I think it's in beginning of December. It's in Chicago. You know, if I end up coloring some stuff that's pretty easy, I'll probably pop on. So if you guys ever, you know, are just milling about, I'll pop on and color with me. Ugh. Alright, I'm gonna go work more until I die. It is Friday, so. Oh, thanks, Alex. I hope to see you on here more. It's always great talking with you. And if, you know, maybe if you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask or come on. Because usually if you have a question, they have a question. They might have the same question. You never know. So I like having Twitch streams so everybody can have kind of a well of knowledge together that, you know, one person asks, everybody gets the answer, that sort of thing. So it's pretty fun. I'll for sure be on next Friday. What is next Friday?
22nd.
Yeah, there's no reason I wouldn't. I'll at least try to come on for an hour. You know, if I'm super busy, whatever. Try to make room. I hope you guys have a really good weekend. For those of you that didn't have such a good day today, I hope your day gets better. You know, you still got time left in the day. Make it good, alright? Alright? Thanks for the new people that followed. Alex, it was wonderful having you. And go draw some buildings. Put them in Discord. I want to see them. They're really fun to chill out with. Don't put too much scariness into them, alright? They're not that big of a deal. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.